That is what a Belahi heart balloon did, and because of that, Allahi Arta, he got raptured up by Kaini Metal Smith that now has accumulated the entire ego power of historical span to go to war with Prime Prince of the only one God. Contrary to this, Allahi artists, again, that's the art of the Abela, or the songwriting Rumia or Davida. That's the crux of the consciousness that gets to the point of exalting the creator of that, of this masterpiece and this language and this creation that is language based in order to make it faith based, or this poetical master creation. Contrary to this, Allahi artists of sodomite stoning immune system, again, that is even part of an art, that you know what is the beauty and how you can safeguard the beauty by exterminating the ugly hatred that is indifference, zero of the flatulence, that is basically resetting all of the values in order to safeguard those values. Contrary to this, Allahi artists with the art of sodomite stoning immune system that are now called by Nazi race of sodomite swastika as hateful terrorists of the brave new world, or the savages, the stiff-necked Anakims and Viagra pricks of Parvati, which are hardened by Shishaki or Shishai or Shishachi meditation, are going to see in that loving and gentle and kind and tolerant Deidur disk that how much Shine Shalom Mahishasurahi Mumbuk has been showering clearly upon them, and yet they have not received any thing or Ravanahi Reina of remembrance, because the dharmically dried pots had been hatefully upturned. And that is when, where after the killing of their Anu Hanuman and Ratan Ramarat, they are going to lake of burning fire, or a scorching sorrow, regret, plus gloomy grief, plus sad heartache, because they will lack, like LGBT losers, to defy the heavy and holy reason and logic and harmony and proof that is going to ironfully and sharply and obviously, or chadad or hadidly emanate out of this Yahuwah Shah, or this straight beam beaconing caucarized king, or transparent glass of believing bulb, from behind and beyond and above whom Yahihu Allah will love, light, judge and talk. Let us stop here for the this, and this I show it to you on the what this means. This pronoun is talking about who, that is Christ. That is something that I need to tell to the Muslim scholars about the Surah Yasin, or Yasin Yasna, Izzad Yazdan Rahman, the owner of Isa Yazata, Yazeshwarsi Yasmin Yaspis Yashm Estona of our hearts. Who is this? This is our beloved Christ Sultan. And so Surah 36 verse 52 and 61, if we take a look here, then you will see that we read about the judgment day door. This is the and so in the judgment day door, we said, and the horn will be blown, and at once the graves once from the graves to the love Lord will they hasten, and then we come out of our basically nothing in Dead Sea, and then our nataf or sperms or our air spiritus or separi or fana'ing phenoms will come out and will be reformed, and then they will say, oh wow, to us. Why? Because what are we gonna see? We're gonna see all of us in with our ancestors, the Mahishasurahi moonshine, who has raised us up from our sleeping place. We were supposed to be mokshat into that clay this Kali Khali vacuum. Who has brought us out of vacuum? This orangutan promise, this Buddha Abudan promise was that no one is gonna get us resurrected. We were supposed to remain there, dead. What's going on here? And then the reply will be, this is what the most merciful had promised to you. And so who is this promise? Who is this promise that we read in this promise, or this stable promise that we call it also as يثبت الله بقول الثابت. That is the Christ, or the fixed foundation of the tree of life. Firm those who firm word, this firm promise, قول الثابت. Okay, that is the qawl. And so قالوا يا ويلتى ما بأس ما هذا ما وعد. This is what Allah has promised, or wa'ada, or qawl as-sabit, or is given us. And so this is like we're all going to rise up, and then we're all going to see the Safari Mahisha Syria, or the golden moonshine, then from which our life story has been emanated, and we had plenty of time in that life story to look back into the toward the book of ease, or yes, and say yes to that. But we've been constantly saying no, I'm good, I don't need God, or I am the God of my life. I have mind and ba'z, or the strength, or the IQ, and I have sex power, or the life force, or the chi, or the real, and that's all I need to be able to sustain myself in the jungle of the survival of the fittest. So this is what the most prophets has promised. So this is what they're going to see. That, and so once we arise, then we see this is what Ar-Rahman promised. And so who is going to say this? God and the Holy Spirit. Allah is going to say it from the back of the salam screen, or the glass bulb. And so we're all going to see that moon shining Messiah sitting on his Qatuzi throne, and from behind him God is going to say, this Christ is pointing toward Christ is what I love most. You can also see, for instance, in Mark, or this is the same. And so cloud appeared overshadowing them. The voice came and said, this is my beloved religion, or khuy, and it has nothing to do with what it is translated here as son. This is my ruh, or my spirit. This is my fixed promise. And so this is my fixed promise or قول ثابت. This is my وعده or rendezvous. This is the burning fire that I promised you. And so God is gonna set from inside the fire, and whoever sees the burning bush or the burning fire or the burning charcoal, then they're gonna say, oh, I want that. This is cold. This hell is full of cold regret and shivering grief. And so, but you're not gonna be given that fire, or you might be gonna be given that fire depending on what kind of word you were. But the thing is that this is this, and this is Christ, King, my father and father of my Aliyah Akhiyahi Bukhari brother from Saudi Arabia, and whose ancestry is one of the people of Mad. We call it, as Daniel 8 verse 20 says. But basically this is what God is going to show, that this, and where is God when he's saying this in a sentence to apostles? God is inside the fire, and God is saying that you see this burning lamp or charcoal, this is my Christ, this is my Messiah, Medina house, or Ruh Salam screen. And God is saying it from behind the transparent Salam screen. The fire is going to set from behind the burning bush or burning bosom breast, or Sinai shining, from the same root, shining, or seening, or Susan, or Susanin, or scintillating. That's the sin. It's coming from that scintillating Christ. And so that is what we call it as Haza ma wa'ada Rahman, and the prophets were right that look at this glorious lamp. And so this is where one of this pronoun is referring to Christ. And then we read also here, here. And then God says again to the people that will be departed, that, O children of Adam, didn't I enjoin upon you, O children of Adam, that you should not worship the Kali or Shakti? Indeed, he, she is to you a clear enemy, and you worship me, who is this is the straight path. This is Christ. And so the Haza, God is pointing toward Christ, and says, the higher jasper stone says, this lower stone is my region. And so by pointing, God pointing toward this, then the Sirat al-Mustaqim, or the straight Raqiya, or Raq, or Galamos, or the Kalkar, Galgal, Qalaing firmament takes place. We call it Salsabil, or the spine, or the backbone of the Christ, or also the Yakin horn cornea, and the other one is the Boaz. And so this is referring to this in Mark 9, also in Matthew 17. And so where were we? Here. And so this, or this Christ, or the straight beam beckoning Christ, cloud king, is emanating from behind, and Allah says from behind and beyond and above whom Yahweh Allah will love, light, judge and talk. That is what we call him as the judgment day door disc, and that is Christ. That is a time, a space, entity, being, living, or Qutb, we call him Qutb or Qibla, Qabala Qibla, that is Qabul at our hearts. Now let us combine the two milestones of love last Eid or this together in another scripture review. Once we combine the 1,000-year-long Day-Door disc and its last aura and write them together in one pearly plot, then we get to Ezekiel 38 and 39, from which I have made a short excerpt. And so let us go another dive deep into Ezekiel 38 and 39, and that says that, therefore thou Babel born Zerubbabel, or the Medadi son of man Adam, prophecy against the Gog or Ojaj, or Durga, dark Durga, Dragoni, Deva Devil, or Ziaus, Diaus, Pita, or Shiva, Su, Sayyati, Satan, or Dishitian, for the love last time to seal and khatam the vision. And that's what I'm going to do according to Daniel 9:24. This is the finishing of the prophecy or the vision or Haz or Haez, and prophecy Nabi of Daniel 9:24 as the Eldad and Medad, or the last two fawns of the Christ Gazelle or Sambara Gazelle. And that is how the prophecy is sealed and finished. And then after that, the daily sacrifice or continual sacrifice of Daniel 9:25 will be stopped. After that, you continue, after my death, you continue for 42-43 months to burn and smoke and incense. However, roughly, no one knows exactly the hour, but even the hour doesn't know. But the thing is that the doors of repentance will go for closing, and then the disbelievers with Khatam Sulaiman, or the sigil that is going to shower on the Sodomites as well as the Yugi monsters, will be completed. And then with the staff of Moses, upon my death I will put the forehead on the forehead of the believers according to prophecy of the Prophet Muhammad. And so from there the continual burnt offering will cease, and voluntarily will be ceased. And so from there the people continue, but then everybody knows what's going on, because now I'm speaking about all of it. And thus said the Yahweh Allah, love Lord, from behind beyond his Quranic rock radio, behold, against thee, O judge, scorched salt water, O judge, the chief prince of Meshek, Mashk, music, Moscow, drum skin, music, that's the root word of the music, or the drum circles, or the skin that is used for the drumming, in which mushroom feast is taken as soma poison, but not as manna, and tubal, or the tabal, or the psychedelic drummers, or the tubal caney psychonauts, And I will let thee return Saba to the Shuba, to the pottery pit or the salty sea, or the Galilee garden of Vanara, or the jungle of Magagi monkeys. It's another name of it. In Ramayana, we call it Vanara jungle. By pouring out the 6 heavenly kisfam min as-sama, a bowl, and that is how God will let it return. Because again, the 6th bowl will cease the Euphrates or the back pressure of the sweet water or the crismation to be removed, and then the Gog and Magog can break the mega dam. That will get the Euphrates, that I am a miniature, mini scale of that mega dam. And so then they will be able to buy the asbab and toys and the funky means that they have built to do whatever they are doing. Although they have been trying to do it, but they have not been able to neither go across it nor to penetrate it. Alhamdulillah, thanks to crismation and the back pressure of the Euphrates. And so by pouring out the 6 heavenly kesfan or the bowl, that will get the Euphrates or the Furat with these references to stop the right desiccate from Tifrates to Fur و firing Vafura or vaporing abundantly. What the Katiro Kotra Taktirati do droplet that stabilizes the retardant megadam of my Zulqarnainahi father king, so that a Melihi route, as we read in Revelation 16:12, a Melhi route was allowed to become prepared for the Kafnus Jofa Kaf, or the saltwater eaten super thirsty or puff cockroaches that have eaten paste, raw dough or fermented paste, and soma steroid, or the Kafnusi Kikan Ki Kangi and Qi, or the real Chi fire of the Sonnet Swart Sonne, son of the Nazi Germany, of the King Kongs of the Nazi Germany, as well as the Taoist monsters of the rising of the sun, or the Antello, or the Antelio, or Tatelo, or Antelope Helios. And you will open up your broken cross, and that is the cross that we will read, that will be broken. And these 6 pieces wings, or the Nazi Sovasetika, or Shashatika, or Shashatak, or your, that K is for the K of your, or Savasetike, or the standard or straightened set 6 pieces part, or the 6 saved and set up and straightened Shiva Lingam taking piece that opens up to become the ultimate cross of the Gog and Magog. And I will cause thee to come up, or Allah, or ascend, or open your 2 Kafnosi Talaria sandal shin legs, or Saga as-Sab of 7529, or your 2 legs. Move or move your juggernaut node Natani vehicle, or the soul out of so 2196, or fly as Nazi eagle Ejel Agol, or the golden calf, from the remotest parts of the north. What is north? The deep wine press, or the left, or the deeply dafan, buried earth. That's meaning of the dafan or the zafan. or we also, as we read before, is Surah 57 verse 54 verse 27. و اصحاب الشمال و ما اصحاب الشمال and the people of the north, or the Sam, or the Samael, or Shamal. And then who the hell are these Harry Hellions, or the Soma, Sam, Samael, Shamael, Fisomum, or the venom covered, or the Simla, Shamael, with the heavy images, or the heavy shekels. They have more than one shekely shape on that the flat page. Or the Shemal Shemol, or the Sheuli Kishkinda jungle, garden, forest of Vanara. That's the garden that Hanuman, from which is coming with the Magog apes, which is full of the psychedelically drum circling Magog monkeys, or the mutant apes, or the Qiradatan Khasein, that not only Holy Quran calls them as despised apes, but also their own Ramayana rated scripture, as well as the Darwin called them as apes, and they have no problem with that. I call them chimpanzee and orangutans, although in tuxedos or in fashion red carpets of the Hollywood, Bollywood, but again it's just the same thing. They have no problem with that too, and they're happy with that. And I, Allah, will bring thee against the high holy Har Mount. Who is the high holy Har Mount? That is the Christ, or the Turturi temple of Israel, or Isa Messiahi Heikal, or the temple. And I will smite thy bow, or Qeshet, or Qos, or we call it Yajuj, or Hanumani, Hanu in Hanuman, in the Hanu means jawbone, out of thy left hand, and I will cause thy arrows, or the khets, or the akhenateni khuts, or the khats, to fall out of thy right hand. And so let's what are these bow and arrows? And so let's read this one verse again to digest technical details of it. And I will smite, or iksi nikka nakara nakaru, and karma, or the perdition sever, or shabar, or sabar in Arabic, sever in English, or shabar, or shavar in Jeremiah 49:35. What? Thy 13-fold. So these are some of the names of Yajuj, we call him, or the Dajjal, or Barack Hussein Obama, or Dadichi, or flying eagle, Ejel Agol. That 13-folded bow, or qaus, we call it the qeshq. Also we have this qaus, or qeshq, not only in here in Ezekiel 39:3, but also in Jeremiah 49:35. And what is that bow? That bow is the Yajuj, or the Antichrist, or the Durga dragons, Danu, Zanu. We call it Danu or Zanu, or we call it Zanu, or the Sagittarius. That is what also we use it as the Sagittarius, or Indra's bow, or Indra Kappa we call it, or the Tand, or the Kappa, or the basically the bow of Indra, that can be only bent by Barack Baboon Obama. If you read about the story of Indra Kappa, then you see that that is the only King Kong that can bend it. Or the Shiva Ziva Zeus's Danush, or the Pingala, which is coming from Pine, or the Pine Gala Galu Golet Galu, or basically, and Pina means fat, or and so Pingala together means fat neck. And who the hell is the fattest neck of the stiff-necked apes? That is the fat neck of Barack Obama, Gada, or the fat, thick, white neck, anak, naka, ainak, also ainak in Sanskrit or Persian, or the glass frame window, or the chassis, or the Swadhisthana cushion, or the base bow, or the Krishna's crescent. It's the crescent of the juggernaut, the vehicle of the hell, or the chassis of the Orion constellation, or the people of the Shamal or North of juggernaut, or the we call it sharanga, or the syringe in English, or the Persian Sanskrit, or surang, or the danush, that again we had as the danush, or the danu, or the zanu, or the bent, like the knee that is bending, that is the bent part. And who is the bent part? That is the Indra Kappa. Or also another name of it is Anohanumani branch, or Pingala. This is the Pingala of Nazi Eagle Egel Ekel of American dollar bill with 13 leaves in right and left hand. And Barack Obama a gun barrel tube of Metatron cube. And so at the end, the Christ Kabe cube Kibotos goes to war with the Metatron cube. And so these two cubes are going to fight with each other. And so this cube is basically the trunk of tree of hell, that are of the hairy hellions and festered and tamarisk fruits of barrenness and IQ and the power and all of those, whatever garbage you want to call it, they're all hanging from that. And so who is that chassis that is going to open all of these? That is what we call it as the Metatron cube, or the Barack Hussein Obama Dajjal dildo. And then this prick is basically whoever has been thinking outside of the box, or outside of the Christ cube Kaaba Kibotos, and then has fallen into Baz, or the Boazi IQ, and as well as has fallen into Hari, Har, or the heated root chakra, and has come out of what the box has been telling them to stay there, because outside you will fall into Shinari sand dunes. Whoever has come outside of that Christ Kaaba cube Kibotos that we read in Revelation 21 verse 17 or 18, that is it is like its length and width and height are equal, although it is a living organism and then can elongate, as we have looked at the dimensions. Whoever has looked outside of that box, or Christ Kaaba cube Kibotos, has fallen into this Metatron cube. There is no other way. You either go to heaven or you go to hell. And so if you are one of the ones that have been thinking outside of box, then you have fallen into Metatron cube, and so you are in the belly of the Buddha beast with 13 spheres. That is how the penis of the scarlet prick will be erected. And another name of it is the Yajuj. So another name of this chassis, or this cube. All of the time that you've been encouraged to think outside of the box or out of the cube, come out of the straight path. Don't be a sheep, don't go to a line like cowards. Be a smart, go find your path and stuff. Whatever you've been doing it, then you have basically become a fallen victim into the Metatron cube, or into the Durga, dark Durga, dragon, dragging what? Dracula. And so you are you are in there. We call it as the Yajuj, or the Barack Obama, or the Gog distributor pollinator. And so he is the pollinator, or the charioteer of the Satan, or the lion tiger of the scarlet sex beast of the Shakti Sakati Skotosi Satan, that whose menstruation is just nothing but ignition and hatred and soma poisoning. And so, and I will I6 Nika Dai Bo. These are all the names of this American dollar Bo. These are all the names of this Christ Kabe cube Kibotos that we have it also here as Metatron cube. This is the Metatron cube that is just sitting right here in front of your eyes. We call it the Antichrist. This is the Antichrist, this is the Satan, and these are the orangutan yogis and sodomites and the scientists of Satan. And so I will hit your American dollar branch with 13 leaves, or the Metatron cube with 13 circles out of thy left hand, and I will cause or I will kill your scarlet sex beast from under your vagina, or under your Kushim Sovadistana Kushim base, or Sarang, or Danu, or Syringe, or Shrang, or again the very famous name of it is what is Pingala, or Pinaka. This is the Pinaka, and then and I will cause thy 13 arrows, or Akhenatene Chetchutz, or the profane spirit, or the Majuj, or the Magog, or the Gog and pollinated Magog monkeys of Kishkinda or Varuna jungle, Vanara jungle, jungle garden forest of Vanara, that are dangling like dodecahedrons, or 180 akashic filler from Yajuji Metatron cube. They are going to sit inside and assemble inside, and this all together becomes the basically Hanuman flyer of the Ramarat Metatron cube, or 30 Baraki thunderbolts, or 30 poison Oscar Qar Qurra or Qurur, or the Tor or Por in Norse Old Norse myth of evil eye, or the 13 Aidai Gaizas in Proto-German, or Neizas in Persian, to fall out of thy right hand. Amen. And so that is how first the chassis will be deformed, or the Anu Hanumani jaw will be Hanu jaw will be, or the Qaus or Qeshqesh or Qeshet, or the Qaus of the Jeremiah 49:35, will be, that we call it in the Holy Quran as the Yajuj, or the pollinator. Also we call it as the Yahmum. As I said, we have the Ojaj, Yajuj, Majuj, and then we have the Hamim, Yahmum, Mahmum, and so or Hammam, Yahmum, Hamim, Mahmum, or the ones that have been drowned and sunk into humming black dark matter, like it is reached above them and they have become finished. Another one, what Allah is telling to Satan, God, that I will get my Isahi eye to hit your Budabisti bow and your Magagi arrows. That is why 13th verse of 13th Asura of Holy Book of Life is word sworded against American golden calf. And again, this is American dollar. American dollar has this sign, but again, this is the yoni. This is the yoni or the yin of the Chinese money currency too. And so 13th verse of 13th Asura from Book of Life is word sworded against American golden calf or Nazi eagle agel or gold that has 13 fold the bow or Dajjalic Pingala and 13 Hari Spiriti arrows. And so that's why we read about my favorite verse of Surah 13, verse 13, that is about against this Metatron cube, and it is by the Christ Kaaba cube, Kibotos of God, that Rora Zat, and the Isa Messiah Ra'ada or Ar-Ra'da. Of Revelation in these verses, including 11:1, 2:27, 11:1, 19:15, 12:5 of Allah exalta Allah with Subhan Shabach Sebomai Sepastos Allah Hing praise of Him Holy Self. That's what the Ra'dullah is going to do with Chesed, Qirat, Hasadi, love, and with Jabaruti, Jabura, and then he will come with Hud, and with Nazahatan, will get the Yasad to pulverize and to do what? With the iron Boaz exalts Allah, and so Christ, or this is another Holy Quranic name of Christ. And so Christ, again, the 13th Surah of Holy Quran is named after this name of Christ. All of more than 90% of Holy Quran is about Christ. But again, it is supposed to be zip like because it causes some people to worship Christ as God. That's the problem. That's why God has because again that He is not God, and so and Isa Messiah, He Ra'dullah does what? He doesn't praise himself, although he is praiseworthy and he knows it better than me. But again, Christ is doing what? Exalts, or Shabach Subhan Sababa Sapostaba Allah. And then that is how he exalts Allah with this praise of Him Holy Self. And then the angels, and then Yusabbihu Ra'd wal Malaikata, and that shows that the Ra'd or Ruh is not the Malaikata, and also the Holy Spirit inside him, or the Jabal of Sahab Saghil, or the mega or the flying mountains and the angels inside the heavy calcareous cloud. And then Ra'd also, again, you have to, I've forgotten here, yes, here it is. Ra'd means thunderbolt, or the lightning of God. And then and the angelos as well, from beauty, faithful love and fear of him holy self. And he sends 13 thunderbolts, or sawa'iq, and strikes therewith harihum he willas, or yashas, or yashas, lovingly exterminates the hatred, while they dispute about Allah. All of them clumped like bunch of excrements inside this Metatron cube. And so that is how Metatron cube will be punctured, and then bye-bye. And he is a severe, or El Shaddai Boaz, Shadid in assault of ugly hatred. Just get the hell out of my view. And so we can actually read this in a faster version, to listen to it in a faster version here.
ويسبح الرعد بحمده والملائكة من خيفته ويرسل الصواعق فيصيب بها من يشاء وهم يجادلون في الله وهو شديد المحال.
And so who is Rad? Rad is our Isa Messiah, or Sultan, or Imam Mubin, or Sultan Mubin, or Balaghatul Mubin, or Balag Mubin, or Logos Mubin, or Binai descending, obviously roaring and thunderbolting, Ruh, rainbow of Allah, that from Protos comes all the way down to Eschatos, and then, or from Eschatos he sends what? He sends thunderbolts, Sawa'iq. And so again, this Surah 13 verse 13 is in the answer of this funky empire of fartful money and gambling and interest and Federal Reserve Banking and Goldman Sachs and empire of hedge fund managers and all of those funky orangutans with their that are talking about the equality, but again down the line they have made a power empire that 300 people, individuals have own 50% of the wealth of the planet. And so this is how Drager, or Trog in Germanic language, or Durga Dragon, or Druj in Avestan terminology, or lie, is has puffed to this point. And so anyone that has taught outside of the Christ Kaaba Kibotos have fallen into this perdition Kibotos cube. They call it Metatron cube. That's another name of Barack Baboon Obama, or the branch with 13 leaves in the hand of Yoni, Chinese yuan currency. In other words, Isa, or Ra'd Ruhiyat, or the Ruhi Ra'd Ram, Rada of Surah 13 verse 13, in that day door, which is himself, will act as. And so here you can see here you can see the tower, the pyramid of the Babel, that is built by all the asbab that has been needed, and that is again, as we read before, in Surah 40 verse 36. And so thoughtful Pharaoh said, or Brahma, the agnic fire, said to Haman, or humanoid, or human clay, or zamanoid, or zomini, or zaman, zamin and zaman, or the time and space, see, clay, mud, dark matter, dark energy. Dark energy said to dark matter, construct for me cooked bricks, or a tower, that I might reach the, not the vase, but in a way vase, but I might reach to the Durga dragon's weapons. And so this Sarhon that is going to compete with the Sarhon of Solomon. The Sar is the tower, and we have another tower. What is that another tower? I'm just bringing you these opposites so that it makes sense for you better. The meaning comes out when you compare the opposites. We have another Sar. What is this Sar? And this is enter the Sar, or this is the Sar, not palace, but also it is a palace. This is one Sar. We call it Christ Kaaba cube, kibotos. That this Kaaba is shadow of that original one. We call it Qabul Qibla, or Qutb of all of the human hearts. And then we have this Sar, and this Sar is the tower of Pharaoh. And what does it want to do? So that I go up in this global power pyramid of the monstrous and Antichrist, the Dracula, so that I may look the deity of Moses. That's the incentive. And again, why are they going to see that I may look at the deity of Moses? Here it is. Why? Because God said what? God said, and the Lord said, behold, the man has become one of us, knowing the good and the evil, or the top tree, or the top tower, and then the Ra tower of the Pharaoh. That is where the Pharaoh comes. And now lest he puts his hand and take from what? Sar of Solomon, or the tree of life, and eat from it and live forever. And that is the plan, that I want to go up and see that deity of, and Pharaoh has done it at the end of time. Pharaoh has gradually colonized the entire planet Earth, forcefully pulverized everybody under the feet of the Vishwarupa, and then any resistance, any tribal resistance, any local native tribes that have been working with Zulqarnain in the underworld, their medicine elder, they have been pulverized, they have been colonized, they have been massacred. Anybody that is not worshipping the god of Hindu Hellions and Buddhist baboons, or the Pharaoh, they are now extinguished. A little bit of them in Yemen are under starvation. Most of them in Saudi Arabia, they are sedated under money and luxury and AC power, and then they think that they are doing absolutely fine, and many of them are under the real ones that are actually against this entire power pyramid are under economical sanctions because of this global monetary system. Not only monetary system, but I'm talking about the Iranian government and the army of the Khorasan, Mashhad from shrine of Imam Reza, Mersi, Marziya, that are going to attack in the name of Marziya, Reza, Resi, defending the oppressed in front of this tyrant, without buying bunch of lies and compromising any righteous and dignified value of humanity. That's why they're under the economical sanctions, and they are doing that in order to minimize the attack of the holy humanity to this tower of thoughtful Pharaoh that we read in Surah 40 verse 36 and 37. And so tower well of pyramid of the Babel, or the Shambhala assembly of satanic excrements, scientist goats, sober adults, Vajra carrying vipers, and vegetarian vampires. We also call it as the Migdal or the Mejdal or Mujadalat, the caliphate of Har-Majaduni, Majadu Jedis, magicians, physicists, chemists, whose Durga, Satan, Shakti, Shiva, Krishna, Kirsi, Gog God is governing the physical surface of earth without touching. The upper part is not touching, without touching it from its under Indra, because that's where the without touching of Daniel 8:5 comes. And so that was part of the mystery. Now after my death, this part will be attached to the lower part, and then it completes, and then it flies to go to Metatron Cube war with Christ Kaaba Cube Kibotos, by its Gogoti, Buddha Beast, Pharaoh, Dajjal, Yajuj. That is also mentioned in Daniel 8 verse 5. Pharaoh Buddha's Tian, Thanatos, Tini, Shiva Lingam, or the Elam of the Jeremiah 49, or the scientifically predict Sarhon or the Sari of the Asura 40 verse 36, also Asura 28 verse 38. Or antenna of the end time zeitgeist, which is built by its genius bodhisattva Dejed Samech Jedis. They're all the same collection of filth. End time empire or Metatron cube of Durga, Dracula, Anu Hanuman of Hindu Taoist and Samud Samadhi Yogis, or the earth Egypt, or the wine press of Rasaf, Yazdan, Yasin, Yasna, Izad, Yazdan, Allah Almighty. And so this is about the, here you can see again, as I said, this is the Ojaj, or we call it Hamim or Hama'at, and then this is the Yahmum, and this is the Mahmum, and this is the Hammam, and or Ojaj, Yajuj, Majuj, different kind of conjugations or derivatives from the same root of Ajaj, which means salt, as well as Hammam, which means heated, or Hamd, mud, or dark matter, dark energy. Here you can see this funky mountain of the orangutans. We call it the Emerald or Amertati Marut, Amertati or Mordadi, Talmite Range, or the Tower Well of the Babel, or the Wine Press, or the Nandi Mount of this, they call it the gold at the top of that Vishwarupa, what they call it, Vishwarupa image of Daniel 2, or Mount, we call it in Avesta in Yash number 8 as the Mount Chavanvat, or a spring of black mud, Einan Hamatan, or the Ham of the Mount of the Ham, and Yahmum and Mahmum that we have. Or the Yahmum is the acid bath maker. This is the acid bath, or the menstruation comes from here, and then we have the ones that are acid washed and boundary dissolved, and for them not only the gender of the male and female are equal, but again there is no difference between human, pig, giraffe, hippo. All of them are just mind, and there is no difference in the language that they are using, because the language, as I said, is not a man-made agency. And Meshek, Tubal Meshek of Ezekiel 39 verse 2, or the music, or the mashk, or the drumming has not made the language, nor the sex has made the language, nor the silent meditation has made the language. All of these things that is orangutans, nor the food and then extra cooking of the food in the fire has made it. The language is coming from heaven, from the qala qala, gilgaling, heaven, or the shama'im that are sama'ing, the ism or Hashem Allah. And so all of these noises that are, their words are meaningless, are basically clumped in Mount Chavanvat, that is in Yash number 8 of the mouth, T mortal mud, which is dog engraved, or Jabu Sakhra Belwa. That is what the Sakhra that they are being scratching, or Krishna scratching. And then this mount that they've been scratching, that we have read many verses in Holy Quran about how they are scratching it, like chapter 34 verse 15, 16, 17, 18, that they are asking from Allah to let them to increase the abad, or the dimensions of this scratch Devaraka city, or Shambhala city, is basically dug and engraved by Samiri Samaritans, or the Samiri Samurs, or the mesmar, let's say, meaning the mesmar nails, or the beaver teeth, or scientist styluses, or the sharp autad pegs, or the stacks of the Pharaoh of 89 verse 10, or the heirs pig pegs, or the Jadu Jadain goats that scratch the hitters with the horns, or the Kundalini columns and Bodhisattva digits. And so this is the Hindu cosmology of the Vishnu Viper. And then here is the Kashyap, or the Koschape, or we call it as the Topel, the Kuz or Kush in biblical terminology. We have the Kush, we have the Ptah, and we have the Canaan, and we have I forgot the other one. The four of them are basically part of this, and so this is the Kashyapa, or the Kush, and then this is the Vishnu Viper that comes out of the belly of the Brahman, or the Brahma that comes out of the belly button, or the Manipura of that orang of that God, the statue. But what is important is that this is what we call it as the lower cosmos, like all of the Advaita school that is talking about non-dualism. That is where they are talking about the alpha to omega, because for alpha, the ones that are sticking to alpha to omega, there is non-dualism, because all that exists is nothing but sounds. And so any kind of thing that is written on that is considered as a love story that is not related to the pigs, that is not related to the termites that are good in chewing the pages of the book of life. They call it lower cosmos and hellhole of Terteli Kush, or Kashyapa, or the Ka'as, or the Mizraim Misr, or the Puta, or the Pate, and the Canaan. And so here we go, we have the Kush, Kashyapa, Mizraim. Yes, the other one was Misr, Mizraim. We have the four of them. We have the Kush, Kashyapa, Mizraim, Misr, or Musawwar, the faces, or the coin, the mosaics. And then we have the Potapatepit in English, and then we also have the Canaan, Canaan, or the derived minerals. And so all of them together are part of the sediments of the Shinari sand dunes in here. And so that is where this blue arrow is the blue vector of the Bo'azan Shadid, or the two legs of the Christ are basically upon this. This is what we call it as the hell hole with different levels, although it is going outside. And again, this Vishnu serpent is like a macaroni, like a spaghetti, eating itself. In the Ankh, the symbol of alpha to omega clay, because they believe in the samsara to nirvana, nuran, and then an extermination, dissipation of the love into nothing, because that is all that exists, is only mind. There is no heart in there. And so the El Shaddai Boazi legs of my father Sultan Christ King comes at the surface of not this dry land but the deep earth, or the Malakuti, and the other one goes into much deeper than this orangutan. This is as much as they are allowed to have abad or dimension to go deep. It goes much deeper than this, but it is still the bottomless pit, and the much lower than this is the omega of the Christ, and the much higher than this up here, much higher than the tip of this pharaonic mountain, is the alpha top of Christ. Actually, this is below the Baha'i Bab of Lod, where the orangutans, the excrements in here, the overpressurized and boiling yogis will be able to come out after the mega dam is allowed by removal of the back pressure, coolant pressure of the Euphrates to fall down, so that they can proceed through the Lod Bab of Baha'i Hellions, baboons of the Hellgate. And so that is what we call it. That is what we call it as the Boaz, or the Ba'sun Shadidi, left hand horn, or the El Shaddai field of view iron rod. That is where the Ra'dullah, or the left hand, will take care of these orangutans. Or we can look at it as the lower body, or the two legs of the Christ, and then the other two hands we can look at it as in the case of the Revelation 10 verse 2, as the ones that are hanging from Allah and then the Holy Spirit. That is the higher cone, or the realm of Yakin, right hand, or the right hand horn, or the higher field of view. This is where we call it the telewide word lines of the Caucasus lamp lens, and these word lines are completely invisible for the people that their ultimate bliss is and so here you can see it is not accident that we have this swastika on the arm as the emblem of the Nazi Germany, because they are in three gunas, or the Tamuzi third style, that is actually very efficient for formation of the post-World War I and II world. The Cold Wars, the Vietnam Wars, all of those things were coming out of the Tamuzi War, and the other one is the Rajas Guna, Guna, and then we have the other one that is Satya Guna, but they are all part of the same monstrous cult of these Harry Hellions. You can see here the scarlet swastika, or the cross, the closed cross, or the broken cross, that is going to be open its wings, and then it becomes the straight of Hanumani bow Yajuj plus Majuj arrow. That once you put them together, then it becomes Saq of the Satan, or the two shins of the Satan. One is the bow and the other one is the arrow. One is the Harry spirit and the other one is the Metatron cube, and then they are getting together. Now you go have fun. And so let us go come back here. And so in other words, Isa, or the Ra'd al-Ruhiyya, or the Ra, or the spirity, or the spirited, or Ruhi thunderbolt of God, that is mentioned in Surah 13, verse 13. In that day, your disc will act as the object of the rider on the white horse, who is Toxin, or the Tauqe, or Tauqe. That's what the Toxin or Toqen have means, or has the Toxin, or the Tauqe, Tauq, or the bow, collar, arc, cushion, cup of Revelation 6:2, of heavenly Holy Spirit, or angelic arrows. And so that's how that in first milestone will strike the Barack Obama base bow, or the Pinaka, or the Pinagalu, or Gullet, or the thick neck of the thickest neck of the stiff necks. It's the ultimate level of the arrogance, that is actually namasteing and curving, yogaing like worms, but again it is full of arrogance. And so like that in first milestone we strike this orangutan, the Tammuz third of the Gagi and golden calf, or the Nazi eagle, Egel, Egel, Agholi, juggernaut, and its heavy cavalry, and then and so that is this, as well as his 13 the 13 ones that are attaching from it, 13 mini diamonds that are attached to that part, or the circles, heavy cavalry. And then in the second milestone, when where Satan, Gog, or the Durga dragon is unchained, or the Shiva is awakened, or the Shakti is or is bleeding, and raise up his or the Ejel or the Agol opens its two wings. Isahi Rod will strike or his hair or its 13 peacock tails or Anakimi arrows, or Naraaka or Narak Tira, and that Tira we have a Tir or Shikandi or Shikand. In Sanskrit or Persian they are the same. Or Tira we have a Tir, and the Shikanda Shikandi. And so that's how the Shikandis Ezekiel 39 verse 3 says that I will hit your Shikandis or the Tiras from your right hand, and from your left hand your Pinaka or Surang or Saranj, or the Ainak or the Inaka, or the Indrakapa, or yes, Pinaka, Pine Galu. Thou shall fall, or Nafal, or Oful, or evil Ephalion, coming from the same road, or the Ephalion down in front of the high holy Har mount, or the Heikal of Allah, or the Heikal or the body temple of Allah Israel. That's the meaning of that. You're gonna fall in front of the holy Har mount, or the Heikal body of Allah Israel, or Allahuming Israel. Thou and all thy Ahimani or Ahrimani bands, and then Gilul carrying people, or dung beetly bell bars, or the Vajra gores carrying yogi gurus, or the Kuba Kobe Gada Gode carrying king kongs, that is with thee. I will give thee unto the ravenous angelic birds of every sort, as we read in Revelation in one page again, the holy hadith of, that these birds are the birds with the necks like the necks of the Bactrian camels. فَيُرْسَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ طَيْرًا كَالْأَعْنَاقِ بُخْتًا فَتَحْمَلُهُم. And those are the birds that are mentioned. Also the birds of Revelation 19, I think verse 17 to 18. And to the wormhole making genie beasts. These are the wormhole, we call it Timaton, genie beasts of the garden, jungle, or the plain field. These are the army not only from above, from the Alpha top, but also from the Omega bottom. They are coming from much Omega than these orangutans are thinking. Of the garden, jungle, or the plain field, or the valley of the Siddim, or the Sadeh, or shadow shade. Again, the valley of shadow is this part. This is all the valley of shadow, where the kingdom of the little green man, or the Krishna Osiris is. And so the garden valley of the Sadhu Siddim, Sadeh Valley, or the greatly checkmating, that's the meaning of Tamatul Cobra, or the Timaton, or Tamatul Cobraing, or the greatly checkmating, and madness making, or sigaon, or saqi, we call it saqi, or saji, sajion, of Zechariah 12:4. Mageti miasis worm into the naf. This is for the pinakas. This is pinaka. If you put pinaka, then you see the pinaka, and then the thickest pinaka that we have, I think here you can see the pinaka or the bow, and so this means knock or neck, and then pin basically means pan, and then pina means like pan, flattened or fat, thick, stiff-necked. I don't humble myself in front of God. I am the God. That's the thoughtful Buddha beast, right? Sitting over there, the gay sodomite. These are the reprobate minds. And so God is gonna just make a puncture in that balloon of fart, and then he will go where he's supposed to go. And so not only from the above with the angelic bears, but also with DMT wormhole making genie beasts of the negative curvaturing cosmos. They will come in after what? This is precisely, actually, I think inshallah, that is too hard to kiss the hand of Prophet, but he just said it right here, that فَيُرْسَلَ عَلَيْهَا مَنَّعْفٌ, and so these are coming into their nifs, or into their necks, right where the Ida Pingala are going up. That's precisely where on their psychedelic trip, once they smoke the dukhan doom of the black smoke, right from there, and the meiosis or the maggot will enter to them, and from there the mass abduction of the unthankful apes of the Vanara jungle will start. And so that is what we call it, the maggot meiosis worm, to be devoured and occult. We read before that then Allah will send a maggot meiosis and na'fa in their anakimi, a stiff neck, or anof, stiff necks, and the next morning they will all die. Again, there is no morning in the next moonshine will they amena. And so going back to the Ezekiel 39:5, thou, Satan, shall fall upon the Siddim, Sadu, Sade, shadow, shade, field, for I have spoken it. Debir, or arrange, or organize the oracle commander, said the Love Lord Allah. Ezekiel 39:6, and I will send the fire, or the sejula, or the sigil, or the sigil that we read about it, or the sejulaing sickle of Isahi Sa'at, or Zezalato Sa'at. This is the consuming fire that will take care of the arrows. And so now this one is gone, and then I will send the last aura of the seventh bowl sickle, or the Rasul Dukhan or Mobin, or the 5-MeO DMT fume fire, flood of black smoke on Magog. And I will send that on the Magog, and among them that dwell safely in the mounts, the 7 isles, in the isles of the sea, or the in the isles mounts, the Baha'i Babs of the deep earth, and they shall know that I am the Yahuwah. Ezekiel 39 verse 7. So I will make my holy holy name of Allah, the Allahi, Allah, or the holy now, known in the midst of my pearly people, water words, or the Allahu Akbar in Israel of the great river of Kabir, river of Ezekiel 10:15. And I will not let my holy Allahi name to be profaned by these maggoty Muslim producing CIA of and MI6 and Xi Jinping coalition and Putin petty tapping coalition that are helping bin Salman to produce them, or Barack Erdogan barking that is using, or the Sisi even from his filthy mouth brings out the holy name of God, and so it will not be profaned by being uttered and emitted from the mouths of the hypocrites, to be profaned anymore by genetically modified translations of Jewish jaguars and Zionist zombies and Vaticanian vampires and hidden Hindus and Vishnu wolves in sheep clothing, and the gay keganging goyim, or the amnesiac nations, or unbreshted, ungrossed ethnostian Thanatoses shall know that I am Allah, the holy Yahweh, one in Israel, not three, but the only one God of Israel. Now let's look at Ezekiel 38 to see who the hell are these hairy hellions and hypocrite nations, and what do they have in their monkey minds. And I will turn thee back, or get thee, or the Shakti Sakat Sektei Shikotzik abomination to set up, or to become juggernaut, nodded or sold out, or the Shiva awakens, or basically psychopathic Shakti is Kali Khali is released and then sold out, or the Ansalon, and put hook, hole, perforate, or hook, or khakke, or khawkhat in Arabic or Hebrew Persian, or khukhat, or naqb, or khurr, into Tai Anu Hanumani jawbone. Again, Hanu means the jaw, the one that has beaten the sun, or the Hanu, or in your jaw. Who is the jaw? This is the jaw, or the bow. Or lehi, or lahi. By getting the Kausari Thriyahi Euphrates to dry up, so that he could taka, or daka, or dig, or dakag, or daka in Sanskrit even, the retardant megadam. And I will bring thee forth through Bahai Belbab, or gate of Lud, or Harmajeduni Majadu Jedai hole, an all-time ayahuasca army and Jin Susmard and Rudra Jin Ve crocodile by cavalry or Bakhailaka that we already read, and the horsemen yogis and the Jin possessed shamans or elders they call it nowadays in these evil medicine shamans that they call it medicine elders. Nothing but bunch of possessed sacks of mud and clay, or the Tamud Samadi Samudic psychonauts, or the Magog monkey غیرتا خاصه این of Kishkinda jungle garden forest of Vanara in Ramayana. All of them clothed or Shiva Shova sued with all sort of flesh Philistine skulls, or electromagnetic dark matter, dark energy, or the cobra coppery armor, or high shekel toroidal fields magnified with crystalline vibrations of Gaia gap. A great company with coming from that rich cities. Again, they are rich cities, as we read before in number 13. You can see that they are in absolute amount of wealth, and they have all sort of cobra coppery alterations into different minerals, and that's why they said we came down onto the land whether the send us, and surely it flows with the milk and the honey, and this is the fruit of it. Nevertheless, the people are strong and dwell in the land. The cities are walled, that is the Devaraka city or of the devils, and very great. Moreover, we saw the children of Anak and then Amalek that we already read. Also, these giants and then the people of Anak come to the giants. We were in their sight like grasshoppers. Again, these are the people of the birdness are like heavy, lightweight people in front of them. And so again, all of them are coming, a great company, very well equipped. Meanwhile that they are bombing the heck out of the people in Afghanistan and Pakistan and in Yemen, and killing Muslims in Burma and Rohingya, or butchering the Muslims in Bosnia Herzegovina and Srebrenica, or economical sanctioning the ones in Iran, as well as church burning in China, or turning the churches into gay clubs in West. Whatever they want to do. Meanwhile that they are doing this, these orangutans are getting fatter and fatter, and that's why all of later on all of the birds will be fed, as well as the Miasisi beasts of the field with this flesh of the kings of the earth. But again, that's the Philistine flesh or the electromagnetic field, because they are very good to be terminated, with bucklers and the shields, all of them handling swords or the Taoist horns or the qi or riqi of fused or staff fused with hamsa hands, evil eyes. Ezekiel 38:5. In addition to 70,000 Jews of Isfahan wearing Persian shawls and Baha'i baboons of Beelzebub that will follow him himself to perdition pit, Baba Baboon Barack Obama will be accompanied by Persia, or that is meaning of the Fars or Faras cavalries, or the horsemen Bekhailaka that we read in 1764, or the Makaramakari riders, or the Vasu Whisper riders, or the Deva Devi Devil drivers, or the Knight Templars of the Persia, are flying Atef crowns of the higher Mesra Olia that we already read that they attack from above of from above the Alpha top of where Muhammad and his people were in the battle of Ahzab, in that Kundalini Canyon in the valley of Elah. And so all of these are basically the Air Force Army. And the name of the Persians is the Air Force Army that is mentioned in Daniel 10. These are the Air Force Army, or the flying Atef crowns of the higher Egypt that are coming, and fly with Talariai sandals, or the feather wings, or the kanaf, and attack or ja'ukum from and fawqakum. That's how they come from above, from Fawqakum 33:10. After being dispatched from where they hailed, from the 7 by 749 Marut Ganas, or the Mat houses, mortal Mat made houses, Marut Ganas. These are where the Ataf crowns will be dispatched from the Davaraka city of the Mount Meru. Persian Atef crowns are the Marut riders that are considered as aviating fronts of the flying Horus falcon. And Ethiopia, what the hell is Ethiopia? It has nothing to do with physical Ethiopia. Garbage translation. It is Kush or Kuz or Kasa or Kashiap. That is the Kashiap that we just looked here. This is the Kashiap. Again, we have the Kashiap, Put, Pate, Mizraim, and Canaan. And so the Kush or Kashape or Kashiap, or the Cosmos, Casey, Topel, Turtle, or the Lover BD City and Kon. It is full of Jinvel Tannin riders and the saltwater Shuy diver frogman, or Qavwas that we call it, and the creeping Ramesh cobras of the lower Egypt, or the Misr Sofla, or the Shafali Asfalosafalin, Darakol Asfar of Dark Durga Dragani Darak will attack from below, men asfala minkum. That's how they came from. With Krishna scratch crescenting dash dashreti crowns that want to basically sever the power lines of the command center from the below and from the above. All of them are attacking to Christ. And Libya, what the hell is Libya? It is not Libya. It is Pita Pudenda. Pudenda in English also, because the pit or the pot, all of them are coming from Egypt's Peta, pit, or put, pate, pati in pot. All of them in Persian, in Sanskrit, in Hebrew, in English, all of them are talking about the pit with them. And so the people of what? People of Kashiap, people of the Put, Pate, Pit, and all of them, the Scythians, will be with shields, Majan, and the helmet, or the Kuba. Again, it is the same Kuba, or the Belbab, or the Hedjet hats, or the Phrygian Hedjeti hats, or the Phrygian pom-poms of Mithraism, going for Christ, cow Christ king killing, or Bagara or Mahishasura killing, and then the Sekhmeti Sikhi Dejes, or the Jadu Jedis, or the Samekh Semikhs, or the Sekhmeti crowns, or the triple Matek Mattaz, or the Asyahu. Ezekiel 38:6, and then Jamrat, or the Gomer, or the rolling stones, or the pebbles. That's the meaning of the Jamrat, Jamar, pebbles, or the Manipurai gems, or again that's another name of the Canaanites, is the Gomre, or the Jamrat, or the Hejars, like the gems, or the, and then Jamar and Jamarat, or the burnt bricks. Okay, it's the same Jamarat that we use in as the burnt bricks of Genesis 11:3, or the psycho what nuts. That's where the nuts of the psychonauts come, and so these are the psychedelically burnt or acid washed nuts. And all his LSTIs bands, and the house of Togarma, or Tajirim is what we call it, or the whole heavy germs, like literally the germ coming from Tajrim, or germ, or jorm. Me guru anvils of the north left, or the deeply deafened people, or the people of Soma poison, or Ashab Shomal Samael 56 verse 41, and illuminated and ignited and agnied and open mind apes of the Soma Samael 56 verse 42, Shemaul, or the Shemal, or the north left, and all his bands, and many people, or the Sheol chimpanzees, Kheratan Khasein of the Kishkinda Vanara jungle with tea. Be thou prepared, and prepared for thyself, thou and all thy company, juggernaut, know the nuts and breaks. Get as much as energy and Ricky and Qi that you can, as Har and Ba'az and Boaz and cunning and deception and brainwashing, and just lift all of it. That are assembled, or Sambala, or Shambalad, or Migdal, Mejdal, Jadwal, tabled on top of each other, or that's the meaning of the table, is Jadwal, Jadal, which means interlaced in tabular form of American dollar or shaft pyramid, or the Babel Tower Serrahan of 46 or 2838, or the tower of tower well of the Babel that is finished, it's already built. Only the upper part that is not in touch with the lower part will touch when I am terminated. Or alam, or the shafted unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them all together, like a crown chakra clitoris above the Tao Tagut, or Taiji, Taj, Pole. These are the names and the accounts that the Tagut, or the Taiji of the Taoism is mentioned, or the North Pole Tower. After many days thou shall be allowed to become visited, unchained. That's the meaning of unchained. So that thou can come from the under in the Rai ghetto and pollute the televised range of Lamblamblands with your filthy Ramarati presence. In the later years thou shalt come into the land of Hebrew, Abar Ubru, traversing or caressing, or the Maqami membrane of presence under Barzakhi Bible bouldery reach. That's how they come from the valve of the Lud, or the Baha'i Bab of the Lud. They come out like a bunch of boiling excrement that have been already massaged by the first 5 bowls of wrath of God, and they are super angry, like the bees that have been smoked enough. And then the 6th bowl comes, and then the mega dam is allowed to be broken, and then we have this swarm of the cockroach, whatever garbage is in the Kundalini canyon of the Yogiist, that is brought back, or sauba, or siyaba, or closed by chastising coverage from the Edeni tongue sword, or Isahi beam became breach laser gaze of Surah 13 verse 13, or the Ra'ada or the Ar-Ra'ada, he rain reach of 144,000 televised zooming eyeball beads, or the diamonds of the priestly asbat, or the shibati rod of chain of 144,000 priestly pomegranates, and is gathered and qabazed, or the hand picked out of the many pearly people, and that is how he will be brought and closed back by the chastising coverage of the Isahi tongue, and is gathered, that is gathered and handpicked out of the many pearly people. Standahing al-a'raf, or the ones that are ta'rifing Allah, or yusabbihu ra'd wal malaikata bihamd, they are doing ta'rif or arafing or knowledging or exalting Allah or ta'rifing Allah, while the ra'd is basically dashing the pagan pots. Before Asura or standing before Allah, he thrown pupil, and upon the Isahi glass veil pupil partition, or messianic mumbug, as the Revelation 15:2 that we looked at it, or messianic mumbug mount of Israel, that has been desolate or kharab. And so here is one of the problems. It is not desolate as we think, it is brightless, and then it will be covered or yakshid or recovered, as we even read in Daniel 9, that the city will be redwelled from temporal landscape into Edeni home. But that's why it is at the moment with not all of its dwellings is in it, and that's why it is called desolate. But it is not kharab, or basically kharabat, or destroyed. It means brightless or exhaled for a while. That's why for a while comes, for a muddat, or tamid, as short as history, but he is already brought and flowed back, or inhaled, was subh as a tanaffus, or the saba'ut is saba'ut, or Sabah have returned to its Rudahani highway of Isaiah 19:23 in one rapture party, and the rest in the second phase of the rapture into Eden eternity. And then the final will be again the recovery, or recovering, or yaksha, or catching up the leaves of the tree, of the green tree of life, back into the yakshat sedrat, into the cedar tree, or the cedrat tree, or remarried of many bridal and Nazarati Mansuri nations, or Nazarati Mansuri nations, who are exiled into clay prison of Egypt earth, and they there shall dwell safely, all of them, as we read already, were in Zechariah 2:4, that many nations and cattle will be all gathered together there. Zechariah 38:9, thou shalt ascend, or allow from thine under in the right ghetto, and come like an amas that we read in Revelation 28, or the salt sand storm, or the swollen wind of released Buddha Abudani gas. And thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the Galilee Gardenic land. Thou on all the yugi and homosexual and gangbang and the burning manning bands and all of the apes, despised apes قرارت خاصین of Vanara jungle, all of them with their Hanuman King Kong. And many Nephilimi ants, people of the Ganesha Enki elephant, with thee, all of the unraptured planetary population that were not murdered, melted, or melted up by that jolly Obama or the terrible tyrant or the Dahal tyrant of Daniel 7:7, or were not ruh raptura as true believers by priestly pomegranates, or by watching, as we read in the hadith of Revelation in one page, by looking at the cow Christ covenants, or the camel wooling, the Zoroastrian camel, that is basically getting the people to become happy and satisfied by that milk cow or milk camel. As true believers by priestly pomegranates, as we read, each pomegranate or each priest or dispatched priests of the 144,000 ones will be enough for plenty of the people. Again, at the same time that these maggots are attacking, at the bottlenecky Ziq time, the tree will be recovered, and from one side and then from the other side of the double-edged sword of the Chinook Breton Bridge, the maggots Magog maggots will be exterminated. Ezekiel 38:10. Thus said the Lord Allah, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall thine ancient deception plan of Natakuna Malaken, of reaching to the tree of life and eating from it and living as Khalidan, eternally living, that we read in Genesis 3:22. It is the same as Holy Quran chapter 7 verse 20, came into thy mind, and thou shalt rethink the most ru'ba or ra'ab or Pharaoni intention, or the mahsubat of Hari history, which is Genesis 3:20, stretching force or salaching or growing long, thy Hari hand wing, and taking of the Isa he took to the temple of love life, not from the door, but like a thief, by attacking, like the Ramarat, and the Christ the Karimi Sarh, or the Sarh of Suleiman, the palace pole of the Suleiman, or the conspicuous Tovata or tower of God, and eating from hidden manna favor, or the cornea cup of sea, that is seeing Izad Yazdan Yasin Yasna Allah, he Yasi Allah, he crowned pupil of life and living forever.